Greetings. It's time for the last of my 4 books that I read over break. VE Schwab's Gallant. So, what do I say about Gallant? I wanted to like it more than I did. I describe this book as The Secret Garden put in a blender with The Sixth Sense and Coraline. This is what you get out. So, the good. What can I say that I like about this book? I like that it is a very visual book. It is actually shorter and wider than a traditional book. And that's part of it. It is visual in so many aspects. There are at least 3 different typesettings that are used throughout this book, which I enjoy because each typesetting talks to us in a different way. The pages are set up so that you can identify both by typesetting and visually what you're doing. Some pages are meant to represent pages from a journal. Some pages are purely image. There are a lot of beautiful pictures in this book. Some pages are black with white type, so a mirror of traditional printing. Visually, this book is stunning. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Let me find one of the cooler pictures. I love this one. So, visually, awesome. Love it. The story, not so much. So, we've got a main character, Olivia. This is where we get some of the secret garden. She is an orphan in a slightly older time period. Not as old as Secret Garden, because that would be Victorian. I think this is a little past Victorian. I think this is like end of the Victorian era at best, because there are cars. Olivia's an orphan. She's living in an orphanage. She's never known her family. She's never known her parents. She only knows that her mother's first name started with G because she has a journal that belonged to her mother. And then we pour in some Sixth Sense. Olivia can see dead people. She does not call them ghosts. She does not call them dead people. She calls them ghouls. Basically, they are half-formed or partially formed appearances of the living. They are not gory. They are not designed to be blood and disgust. It is, you can only see a hand. You can only see half a face. You can only see, like certain part. Not gory. We are never treated to anything gory in this book. It is not designed to do that. So, while she's at the orphanage, she is called into the headmistress's office. She is told, "You've received a letter." And she's given this letter from an uncle she's never heard of, saying, "You have a family. We've been trying to find you. Come home." So they arrange for a car to take her to the home, Gallant. At Gallant, she's greeted by the housekeeper, cook, Hannah, and the general maintenance person / groundskeeper, Edgar. And they treat her kindly and with love and respect once they understand, because I've forgotten to mention something important. Olivia can't talk. She's completely mute. She cannot make any sound whatsoever. Okay? It's not that she can't talk. She can grunt. No, she can't even do that. No sound whatsoever. So they figure out from the letter, so on and so forth, and as they are wrapping her in love of, "Oh, you're home. You look so much like your mother," who she learns her name is Grace. the current master of the house shows up, and that would be her cousin Matthew. Matthew is in the range of 17. He is the master of the house because his father, who sent the letter, is dead. And not just recently dead, dead over a year ago. So how did this letter get sent? That's one of the mysteries of the book. Matthew wants Olivia gone. Doesn't care if she's his cousin or not. He wants her out of there. And the reason he wants her out of there is, back to the secret garden, what's in the garden? The garden is lovely. It looks really nice, but when Olivia attempts to smell the roses, Matthew says, "We grow them for looks, not for scent." And then what's at the end of the garden? At the end of the garden is a wall. And it is not a huge wall. It's not even a complete wall. It doesn't connect to anything. It is a wall with a door made of iron in the wall. It's only 12 paces from the door to the end of the wall, either direction. And here's where we have our Coraline connection. Through that door is another world, a dark mirror of our world. And in that Gallant, there is a master of the house. So, throughout the course of the book, Olivia is learning about her mother, about her parentage, and about what the Pryors, her family, and that door have to do with one another. She actually ends up on the other side of the door. She doesn't open the door, but because she's on the other side of the wall at dusk, she ends up in the other world, where she faces off against the master of the house and his three shadows. His three shadows who are his knights. As she is trying to fight the knights and escape, she learns two things. First off, there appears to be another living creature, not from that side of the world, but from her side, our side of the door, trapped there, who looks to be a small boy, 12-ish or so. And secondly, that on the other side, two things happen. When she touches the dead, decayed flowers or the bones of an animal, she brings them back to life. The flowers become vibrant and alive again. The bones literally reconstruct into the creature that they once were. And second, in that world, if she calls to the ghouls will come protect her. So, she only escapes with the help of Matthew. Matthew opens the door from our side to let her out as she is pounding on the door. In order to do that, he has to touch the iron with blood. In order to seal the door, he has to do the same and do a little incantation that seals the door with his blood. So, what we learn is the creature on the other side is death. And death technically has 4 shadows, but one of those shadows escaped him and happens to be Olivia's father. Olivia's mother, Grace, from our side, ended up on the other side, and when told to kill Grace, the first shadow chooses not to and sets her free, and they begin a romance, which leads to Olivia. Because of her ability to bring life to his side, Death wants Olivia. But Olivia, having escaped, shows a drawing of the boy to Matthew, who believes that that boy is actually his younger brother, who he was forced to abandon to that side of the door, Thomas. The rest of the book is how do we save this boy and get both the boy and Olivia back. What happens? I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to. You got to read the book yourself. Does death make it across the threshold of the door? Is the boy Thomas? Can he be saved? You'll have to find out. What I can say is I was severely disappointed. This was a lower level of writing than I've ever seen from VE Schwab. Her writing is usually pretty high level and really well thought out. This one, less so. And I think that she kind of explains in the acknowledgments that she had the idea of the door first and everything else kind of built itself around that. And because of that, I think that the idea of the door is a great idea, but the characters she chooses to put at the door, not so much. So 3 at best out of 5 on this one. So that's everything I read in 2 weeks. Hopefully you've seen all 4 of these. And I did what I call slow read for these. I set myself a limit of 100 pages or so a day. Normally what I do is I say 100 pages. I will read until the end of a chapter after those 100 pages. So if 100 pages and the chapter doesn't end for 6 more, I'll read 6 more. If it doesn't end for 12 more, I'll read 12 more. So 100 or so pages a day. So that's 1,400 pages worth of reading right there. I'm going to try to continue that throughout the year. My official goal is 52 books, but if I do that, it's not the number of books, it's going to be the number of pages, which is going to be a lot. Like 36,500 pages of reading in a year. And we'll see if I can actually do that. If you like this, let me know. If you want me to do more books that I've read, I will. Just let me know in the comments. See you next time.